Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Jake, and call me Atrocious as well if you'd like. And today we got the top 8 match of the Aichi Japan One Piece TCG OP05 championships. Both you and I will be watching this match, trying to learn a little bit more about the OP05 meta before nationals, or just wanting to watch good gameplay at a high competitive level. And so looking at our top 8 meta, there are 4 Sakazukis left in the top 8, 2 Katakuris, and 2 purple Luffys. Just a heads up as we get into this match, just want to say again that I do not own the rights of this stream. This stream is the official One Piece trading card game stream, and I will have it in the description below if you want to go check it out for yourself. Maybe watch that without my commentary. But if you like what you see in here, maybe want to join the Atrocious Pirates, just go ahead, hit that subscribe button or whatever it is that cringe YouTubers say. Anyways, let's just go into the match. In this one, we do have Katakuri versus purple Luffy. So this will be an interesting one. I think if the purple Luffy just gets like a good enough turn 1, turn 2, they can run away with this game, and they definitely need to go fast, because as soon as 10-drop Big Mom becomes viable for the Katakuri, it could go downhill real fast. So definitely want to start off strong, definitely want to go fast, and we'll see exactly how they respond. Definitely triggers also play a factor in this one, and it looks like Katakuri is going first. So if I imagine purple Luffy won the rock, paper, scissors and opted to go second because Katakuri loves going second. The Katakuri player has a 10-drop Big Mom, Pudding, Shirahoshi, the promo Zoro, and also I think that was a Capone Beijay in hand. So really thinking about what they want to do in this one. The hand's not terrible because you have the Pudding, but if the Pudding doesn't find you like a really good like turn 2 play, could go south a little bit quickly. Definitely on that 3 dawn turn, it would have to find the Paros Pharaoh. I don't know if they're opting to keep it. The purple Luffy has a couple cards there. I can't tell. I think the first one was a blocker, Trafalgar Law, potentially. I'm trying to think, and it looks like they did end up keeping the hand. Probably not going to play the Beijay turn 1, I would imagine. So maybe thinking that the turn 2 could be swinging either 5 with Pudding or swinging 9 with Katakuri, which I think you'd probably want to go wider in that. So not a terrible hand, opting to keep it. It looks like the purple Luffy did end up mulliganing that one, so we'll speed it up real quick. And so here's the hand of the purple Luffy: 2 law blockers, 1 blocker kid, a Polly, and then the page 1. So pretty okay hand, I feel like, because you are probably going to ramp at some point or another for turn 2 to be able to get like the kid blocker down or the Polly, or if you feel like you're in a position where maybe you don't want to take your life and ramp, which I don't know why you would, you do have that kid option. So we'll see exactly how this goes. Again, Cat is going to go first, and I'd imagine they played that turn 1 Pudding. And so here we go. They are going to play the turn 1 Pudding. Looking at that top 4 cards and looking for a Big Mom Pirate, which is almost their entire deck. They've got a Brûlée right there. They did see half of those cards not being Big Mom Pirate cards, so a little bit close there, and just going to pass after grabbing the Brûlée. So getting 2 Dawn there, and they're just going to pass it off to the Katakuri. So drawing right there, grabbing a Beijay on their 3 Dawn turn. That is some warped Dawn if I have ever seen warped Dawn, but it's fine in the eyes of the game. So ended up going wide, as I mentioned. One of the possibilities of turn 2 earlier, going to be swinging 5 with the Pudding. Pudding has now done more than enough of what it was supposed to do, and they're just going to take it and then a 5k swing on top of that. They did off the life get another page 1, so just going to pitch it right away and then pass the turn off to Luffy. Luffy now on the 4 Dawn turn has 5 Dawn available if they take their own life and use the leader effect, and that's what they're going to do immediately, getting to 5. They've got a couple options, either playing Polly or the kid, I would imagine that you'd probably want to save Polly for the next turn, especially because I think off of that life they got another kid. So going to be starting off swinging 5 at leader and going to be using counter with the Zoro promo, and then resting all 5 to lay down that kid blocker. So here we go now into the next turn for the Katakuri. They've got a couple options. They could lay down the Brûlée blocker, but you know they're going to go to 7 next turn, so Polly is online for that Brûlée blocker, so it may actually be better to do a couple different things. I think Thunderbolt you could do if you wanted to, but then I don't really know what you use for the rest of the Dawn. Maybe like put it on the pudding again and just keep swinging, or what you can do and what they might end up doing is just going white again. It would be interesting if they played down the Beijing. I doubt it, but I think Shirahoshi is probably more viable. So we'll see exactly how it goes. It is going to be the Thunderbolt taking care of that kid, getting rid of a Beijing in life. So that sucks a little bit, but it is what it is at this point. And then just, again, going wide, just letting this Charlotte Pudding swing as many times as possible in there. And so getting 4 swings off compared to the Luffy's 2, or I'm sorry, 1 at this point, and getting rid of a blocker as well is always really, really nice. So Luffy now going into their 7 Dawn turn at this point. It would be interesting if they played Polly, because Polly off of the Charlotte Pudding just feels really, really weird, in my opinion. But going to be swinging 5, I presume, at face. So looking there, they could get rid of like the Brûlée, they could get rid of the Shirahoshi or a Capone if they wanted to. Capone, you probably want to save that a little bit because it is a 2k counter, but I do think probably the Brûlée is your top option here. You definitely want to draw cards, I feel like, with Shirahoshi, even if it means eating up most of your Dawn for the turn. So I think Brûlée is the one that you pitch here. Yeah, and they're just going to do that at this point. And putting down the Polly, so it looks like they are going to rest that 5 and then rest 2 more to use the on-play effect, popping that Charlotte Pudding, and then going to be getting a Dawn as well. The Polly effect giving them 1 Dawn, but not really needing it at all, just kind of there. So Katakuri's next turn goes, I believe this is the 7 Dawn turn now. Going to be looking at what they want to do. They do have 200 million volts of Maru, which could help in the future. Not right now, though, and they are going to swing 7 at leader and find a Paris Pharaoh up there. So going to be taking that, no trigger, going immediately into the hand, and going to be playing down that Shirahoshi, as I mentioned earlier. Going to need to draw cards out of here. So picking up 3 and trashing 2, they picked up a Brûlée, a Big Mom 7 drop, and I don't know what the other card is on the end there, but it looks like they're thinking about pitching the Amaru and Brûlée. I don't hate this play. Big Mom could be really, really good and annoying for your opponent, and then the 200 million volts Amaru, they've got 5 blocker kids, so can't be rested off the Amaru, only resting 4 cost characters. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So going into now 10 Dawn for Purple Luffy, already hitting the max amount of Dawn. They've got a couple queens in hand and a big 7 drop Eustace Captain Kid. It wouldn't surprise me to see like the kid drop down and then also the queen drop down, because then with the Dawn -1 you get it right back with the kid effect. You get 2 blockers in play, and then you can attach that Dawn, that active Dawn, that extra active Dawn to either Polly or the Purple Luffy leader to swing. So in my opinion, that's what I would go with. Always, yeah, swing with the Polly first. Because if it's something that KOs a character like a Thunderbolt or whatever, you definitely want your Polly to be active. You never know with Katakuri decks at times. So thinking about what they want to do at this point, they've got 1 Dawn active, Polly swinging in. Going to be using 2k counter Capone Beijing to block. And that last card that they got off Shirahoshi, by the way, was a Satori. So another 2k counter, but not a great character to put down on the field. The purple Luffy then goes to swing and hits the Perospero right there. So that trigger going there, discarding the Satori to be able to play that off of the trigger. I almost would have, and this makes me believe then that they're not going to use the Eustace Captain Kidd Queen play because they swung with both leaders right away. But maybe you would rather just have the 1 Dawn open when you do the double 5 blocker play and just have 1 Dawn open, because like you don't want to risk those blockers getting blown up for some odd reason, right? So maybe it's actually a better play to be able to do that. You would rather like your poly go away than your blockers. So just going to be playing the kid down for now, and looks like they're going to be resting 5 more. It could be another kid or this queen, and it looks like it's going to be the queen. I definitely think queen is the best idea because you get to draw 2 cards with the Dawn -1 and then trash 1, and then that Dawn just comes right back. So it's almost like nothing happened. So pulled a Magellan and a Miss Double Finger off that. And I do agree that Magellan is the best play to make. Usually around this time, this late in the game, Magellan is a turn like before poly, in my opinion. If they had played the Magellan on the turn that they played the first kid that got blown up by the Thunderbolt, that's like the ideal time. So just getting rid of that there, and now the Perospero swinging 6, and it looked like it was going to the poly. So we'll see exactly how they counter out of that. It looks like they're going to use 2K counter Miss Double Finger potentially, and it looks like they are. And so now going to be swinging 7 with Katakuri. Taking a look at this life, it is a Charlotte Pudding, just going to be there on top, and it looks like they are going to block with Queen and then use a 2K counter ulti to get out of that one, and then popping the big mom that purple Luffy saying, you know what, you can have it, it's fine. So putting that Scratchman of Poo in the trash. Kind of wanted, but actually Scratchman of Poo is not the biggest of deals. I feel like you're in an all right position right now if you are the purple Luffy, because you got these blockers. They've got a ton of blockers in hand as well. So you could put down the Law, although I think you kind of avoid Law because of the Thunderbolt matchup, in my opinion. We talked about that kind of a little bit earlier. Thunderbolts off trigger are tough. You're all right if they Thunderbolt a 5k blocker from hand, or a 5 cost blocker from hand, but getting the Thunderbolt of a 4 cost like from life definitely is something that you want to avoid. So going to be thinking about what they want to do first. Could be a poly swing first and then a Luffy swing. I wouldn't hate it entirely if you put out the other queen and kid that you have and like just get that active Dawn again. You would have 4 blockers on the field, right, to prevent the attacks of Perospero and the Lin along with the Katakuri. And if you swing a couple times here and you kind of hit life because they only have a 3-card hand, right, you're in a pretty decent position to just swing with all those blockers next turn for game. You have a pretty good defense going on right now if you do that play, and what do they have to respond? So they're just going to take that pudding and put it in hand. I'd imagine that they're taking a lot of these because they're going to 10-drop Big Mom next turn. So we'll see exactly how that goes. And eyeing up the queen first here. I don't mind the queen going first because, like I said earlier, you know, you put 1 Dawn back, it'll come back from your kid, and you've got 1 Dawn to put on your active Luffy and swing for 6. So drew another Magellan in there, so discarding that Magellan, and then going to be eyeing up what to do with the rest of the 6 Dawn. They can't play the 7-drop kids, so I think maybe I think they're thinking about either Law or the 5-cost kid blocker. So you could also maybe make a point of poly because you don't pop anything, but poly is a pretty good attacker going on here. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. They keep spreading 4 Dawn and 2 Dawn there. It keeps making me think that they're going to put down the Trafalgar Law, but Maybe just putting one. I don't know. They keep doing fake outs right now. They don't let go of the Dawn, so that's the reason why it's never been attached yet. But gonna be thinking about what they want to do some more. They've got 2 of those 7-drop kids in hand, and again, you can't play them, so I think maybe your 5-cost kid is your best bet. And so it's just thinking some more. There's a lot of thinking going on and a lot of up and downs, a lot of movement, but this is One Piece. In my opinion, I see a lot of One Piece players, including myself, do stuff like this. So going to be attaching 1 Dawn officially and swinging 6 at life. So I bet we'll see that queen or kid. I'm sorry, he doesn't have another kid. He has another queen. That's what I meant to say. The queen come down. There's a lot of queens and kids right now on the field. I mean, the kid, he's going to drop the 5-drop kid. Anyways, moving on. There is a potential trigger going on right now. I wonder if it's a play effect. Play and discard a card from the hand. It looks like it's potentially 200 million volts Amaru. 200 million volts Amaru with that trigger. Trash 2 cards from your hand. Add up to 1 life card from the top of your deck to the top of your life, basically negating that attack for 2 cards. So trying to think of the cost. Oh, it looks like it's actually a Sanji blocker instead. They gave me a little fake out there on the official stream. So Sanji saying you have to discard a card in order to play him. So the blocker, very, very important. I will say the thing about the next turn for the purple Luffy player is they actually have a poly that they can play next turn, so that could be interesting to get rid of these Sanjis. So going to be swinging into them and getting that Zoro, and so we'll see what they do with their 10 Dawn. I'd imagine that they just throw down the Big Mom, so getting another life and putting Luffy at 0, even though they have 4 blockers right now. And it's not just 4 blockers, it is 4 5,000 power or more blockers. So very intimidating board, I will say, and just opting for the life right now. Going to be putting it in there and then swinging 7 at leader. Going to be looking and taking that one. Definitely want, and not even swinging with Katakuri because they could block with the other queens. So that was definitely the correct play from the Katakuri player of just swinging with the Big Mom. No reason to swing with the Katakuri. You're just kind of wasting effort at that point. And a Gum Gatling is off the draw here. That 0 cost effect. That'll be very, very good for the defense coming up here. And they're showing, I think, that Sheep's Horn is what that's called. Dawn -1 resting a trying to read, is that a 6 cost character? Yeah, resting a character with a cost of 6 or less. And then Gum Gatling is the typical 0 cost, discard 1 card from your hand and get 3,000 power in the battle. So no Sheep's Horn in hand, just the Gatling. So we'll see how they play this out. They could potentially win this turn. I don't know if it's the best idea to win this turn, but can you hold off a good defense enough to be able to stop? If you go for life and try to go for game, can you stop a 10-drop Big Mom and a 7-drop Big Mom along with a Pharaoh's Pharaoh and potentially a Sanji and leader on top of that? So that's the question that they're going to have to answer here in this one. An X-Drake would be beautiful if they had it, but I don't think that they do. So unfortunately can't. But thinking about where they want to place the Dawn entirely, you definitely swing with Polly and Luffy. That is a given. But it really comes down to if you feel like you can live for the rest of the turn. Polly is a 7 Dawn investment if you try to do that and pop like Sanji or something like that. And so playing around here now, they don't have the Kaido in hand that they're showing on screen, but Kaido would be awesome here if they did, because I feel like maybe if you had Kaido, you could probably, I don't know if you could win the game off of that because it is a 9 cost and then you'd be swinging pretty much face with the other 2 characters. but it would allow you to potentially take a KO on like the 9-drop Yamato while also popping either the blocker or the Perospero. Just getting rid of bodies. So going to be having to do the math with their hand. They've got a couple counter cards, but truthfully, I don't know if they'd be able to win. You just don't know like what they have in their hand. And going to be resting 5. It looks like it is going to be for the poly, and they are going to be popping that Sanji blocker there. So maybe just keeping up their blockers, I will say. Maybe not necessarily going for game, but swinging 5 now at what I assume is leader. And then going to be trying to get something out of their hand right here. They do have a Pudding, they do have a Zoro, and a Capone. So the Katakuri player doing the math, seeing what it takes if they do take the life here and choosing, you know what, I'll just get rid of the Zoro. And so now swinging with Polly. They still got the 3-Dawn open. So I wonder if they're going to swing with one of the blockers here, actually. Because of the 3-Dawn open. They don't have any 3-Dawn cards in hand, anything that they could play off of it. So going to be taking that right there and then swinging 7 now with the Queen. I think what they're going to do now is attach 1 Dawn to each of the kids after this Queen and try to hit game right here. So they could lose to a BJ off of this play, but they just got to hope that a BJ is not there. And there's 2 cards right there. It is going to be a swing from the kid, take no trigger, and a swing from the kid going for game. Oh my gosh. That was... Man, was that a gamble going for game, I feel like, for that purple Luffy? Absolutely great job with that math and that, like, calculation that he was doing. What a thrilling game. I definitely enjoy that. I do really enjoy watching purple Luffy. I think it's a pretty cool deck, even though I can't play it myself because I don't own all the cards. But nonetheless, what a great game. Definitely love to see that, and I can't wait for the rest of this tournament. Definitely getting some tips right there if you are going in as purple Luffy, maybe how to play some of the matchup, especially with Katakuri, because in my opinion, and this is my opinion, take it with a grain of salt, I do think that Katakuri is not a bad play for nationals coming up at the end of January. So we'll see if I'm right in that take or not. But if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe and join the Atrocious Pirates crew, so then you get notified for all of the videos whenever they drop. More commentary videos will be coming, as I'll do the rest of this tournament, and then we'll probably have some IRL gameplay coming in the near future. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of the day. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by. So do you come here often?